California experienced an unprecedented extreme drought that spanned water years 2012 through 2016, and in September 2014, most of the state was listed by the U.S. Drought Monitor in the highest category of exceptional drought. In January of 2014, the California state governor declared a drought state of emergency that wasn't lifted until April 2017. This drought had profound negative impacts on the economy, society, and environment of the state, and the precipitation deficits had a cascading effect that led to shortfalls in snowpack, stream flow, and reservoir storage. Synoptically, the cause of the precipitation deficits was an anomalously persistent high-pressure ridge over the northeastern Pacific Ocean that shifted the position of the jet stream to the north and diverted atmospheric moisture and reduced storm activity over California. The formation of the ridiculously resilient ridge has been attributed to low Arctic sea ice concentrations, extremely high sea surface temperature anomalies in the North Pacific, and persistent sources of Rossby wave energy emanating from the western tropical Pacific. While low precipitation was the main driver of this drought, temperature played an important role in intensifying the effects by increasing evaporative demand, which amplified the soil moisture drought. Statewide increases in average annual temperature were significant. 2015 was the hottest year on record with an increase of 2.24 degrees Celsius. These record high temperatures contributed to potential evapotranspiration anomalies that were up to 12% above average. This extreme drought was a result of both anomalously low but not unprecedented precipitation and record high temperatures. Statewide single-year precipitation totals are not unique in the paleoclimate record and has been attributed to natural climate variability. However, the cumulative precipitation deficit is the driest 5-year period on record. Soil moisture deficits were significantly lower than expected from precipitation anomalies alone. Despite only having the third lowest precipitation total, 2014 is the worst single drought year on record based on the Palmer Drought Severity Index, PDSI, and the period from 2012 to 2014 stands out in terms of cumulative severity with a cumulative PDSI of negative 14.55. Warmer temperatures accounted for as much as 25% of the drought's cumulative moisture deficit and reduced both soil moisture and snowpack. This drought was characterized by record low snowpack, a critical source of recharge for California's surface reservoirs. The combination of low precipitation and record warmth causing well above freezing temperatures resulted in snowpack that was only 25% of average in 2014 and reached a record low in 2015 at only 5% of normal. Studies have shown that anthropogenic warming likely further reduced snowpack levels during this drought by approximately 25%. By January 2014, all but a few reservoirs were less than 50% capacity. The drought reduced water deliveries from local, regional, state, and federal water projects, and water deliveries reached all-time lows in 2014 and 2015, when the state water project could only deliver 5% of its allocated contracts, and some water contractors received 0 deliveries. This forced users without alternative water sources to either drill new wells or purchase water from others with a contract allocation. Reductions in water deliveries limited water supplies for irrigation to the nation's leading agriculture-producing region in the Central Valley of California. This resulted in hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland being fallowed each year, reaching a max of 640,000 acres in 2014. A significant number of jobs were also lost. In 2015 alone, 21,000 workers lost their jobs. During the worst years of the drought, 2014 to 2016, total statewide economic agricultural losses were approximately $3.8 billion. Farms that were able to stay afloat did so by pumping groundwater at a rapid and unsustainable rate. Studies have estimated a decline in groundwater of approximately 8.1 million acre-feet per year during the drought. This resulted in well water levels dropping by up to 10 feet and land subsidence of up to 2 inches per month in some locations. The greatest economic impact of this subsidence was the reduced conveyance capacity of up to 60% for some of the major Central Valley canals. This drought highlighted the importance of protecting groundwater availability and in 2014 led to the enactment of the most comprehensive groundwater legislation in state history. The Sustainable Groundwater Management Act requires the most stressed basins to reach sustainability by 2040. Groundwater overdraft also resulted in wells going dry for many rural households and small communities. Tulare County alone reported almost 2,000 domestic well failures in 2015 and estimated costs of approximately $18 million for additional pumping and rehabilitation. Small water systems are not required to have drought contingency plans and often lack emergency connections to other water systems. This drought increased attention to problems of small water systems and rural domestic wells, and the California Department of Water Resources issued an executive order giving counties 2 years to determine how to provide drought supplies for households currently outside of the drought contingency plans. Hydropower generation is highly dependent on runoff upstream of the hydropower plant. The deepest years of the drought reduced hydropower production by more than 50%, dropping from 13% of California's electricity use to just 5%. The loss of this hydropower generation was replaced by more expensive gas turbine generation and cost approximately $2 billion, plus additional air pollution and greenhouse gases. Perhaps the greatest impact of this drought was the death of 102 million forest trees. Drier, weakened trees become more susceptible to disease and insect infestation. This had a significant impact on tree density and species composition and has fueled an extraordinary jump in wildfires. The economic cost of these impacts is difficult to estimate, as the costs from additional wildfires and their economic and public health impacts spread long after the drought ended. Low flows and high temperatures from the drought reduced water quality, impaired habitats for native fish species, including many endangered species such as the Chinook salmon, and supported the expansion of some invasive species. Most of California's endemic species were already at historic lows before the drought, and several species were pushed to the brink of extinction. The drainage of most natural wetlands in California has limited waterfowl to wetlands managed as state and federal refuges. Decreased water allocations for managed wetlands reduced fall and winter habitat for waterfowl. However, wildlife refuges throughout the state collaborated to identify where water supply should be allocated to best support waterfowl habitat and migration. Lack of drought preparation for the environment increased the severity of the effects on the ecosystem. From 2013 to 2016, the state government spent $66 million and the federal government spent $67 million on drought emergency support, including a temporary flow barrier placed in the Falls River to reduce seawater intrusion into the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta. Drought in California is not a recent phenomenon, and extreme droughts tend to occur every century or so. However, in the past 100 years, human activities have been drawing more heavily on the water budget. Additionally, anthropogenic warming will continue to impact California by causing more precipitation to fall as rain instead of snow, and stressing surface moisture by increasing evaporative demand. Lessons and innovations from this extreme drought will be important for managing water in a California with a warmer future climate and increased water demands.